My brother-in-law moved in temporarily and turned our home into his personal frat house, so I made sure he'd never want to leave. My husband had this thing where his younger brother Jake could do no wrong. And I don't mean that in a normal sibling way. I mean it like Jake could burn down our garage and my husband would hand him matches for the house. When we first got married, I thought it was sweet. He'd lend Jake money without asking for it back, bail him out of bad roommate situations, let him crash on our couch between apartments. Red flags were there. But I was in love and convinced I could handle a little family drama. Life was pretty good for about 2 years. We had our 3-bedroom house that I'd bought before we met, where I paid the mortgage from my inheritance while my husband covered utilities and groceries with his accounting salary. I worked from home doing graphic design while he commuted to his firm downtown. Then March arrived with a phone call that changed everything. Jake announced he needed to crash with us while apartment hunting after his latest roommate kicked him out. 2 weeks maximum, he promised. So I cleaned out the guest room and set up some ground rules, because that's what family does. Well, April and May passed without a single apartment viewing. By June, the takeover began. First, it was just his Xbox hooked up to our living room TV. Then his buddies started showing up for game night every night. By September, he'd given them our garage code and they were parking in my spot, forcing me to park on the street. By October, he was cooking elaborate 2 a.m. meals and leaving disasters in my kitchen. By November, he threw out my meal prepped containers to make room for his beer collection. Each month, his entitlement grew like black mold. The power plays made me lose it. He'd moved into our master bedroom one day while I was at work, just to try the mattress, and acted shocked when I flipped out. Instead of backing me up, my husband said I was being dramatic. Jake had been telling him I was emotionally abusive for trying to control where he slept in our house. 8 months of this escalating insanity. When I suggested Jake contribute to bills, my husband looked at me like I'd suggested we murder his brother. His standard response became, he's going through a rough time. We need to support him. My final straw came when I went on a 3-day work trip to finish a major client project. I came home to find beer cans everywhere, pizza boxes stacked on my desk, and my laptop covered in some sticky substance. The house reeked like a dive bar. I found Jake and my husband in the living room laughing at some video on Jake's phone. Look who's back, Jake said without looking up. Bet she's gonna freak about the party. My husband actually chuckled. Maybe if you weren't so uptight about the house, accidents wouldn't seem like such a big deal. I stood there staring at them both. This wasn't about the mess or the laptop or even the party. This was about my husband choosing his brother over our marriage. The same brother who'd been systematically taking over my home for 8 months. I smiled and said nothing, just went to assess the damage to my office. That night while they played video games, I researched tenant rights and utility contracts. Jake had been here long enough to establish residency. The mortgage was still in my name alone since I'd bought the house before marriage. The utilities were all in my name too. A plan started forming. Over the next 2 weeks, I played the perfect hostess. I casually mentioned how expensive the utilities were getting and how managing all these accounts was overwhelming me. Jake made some crack about how that wasn't his problem. Actually, I said sweetly, since you're here long term now, would you mind taking over the electric account to help build your credit? His eyes lit up. I knew his credit was trash from years of financial irresponsibility. Really? Yeah, that'd be awesome. Within a week, I'd transferred everything into his name. Electric, gas, water, internet, even the trash service. He signed every document I put in front of him, proud to finally be contributing, as he called it. My husband was thrilled his brother was stepping up. The following week, I suggested to my husband that we needed space to work on our marriage. Maybe he should stay with his parents for a bit. He agreed immediately, probably relieved to escape the tension. Perfect. The day after he left, I packed everything I owned while Jake was at his part-time job. By evening, I was gone, leaving only a note. Jake, the house is all yours now. All utilities are in your name as requested. Mortgage payment is $1,800 due on the 1st. Good luck. 6 months later, they're both still dealing with the aftermath. Jake couldn't afford the bills and destroyed his credit trying. My ex finally saw how his brother had manipulated him when Jake expected him to cover everything.